Thank you very much. Now, this morning I actually changed the title and did a whole different talk because in the last 3 days, I did prepare my talk a couple of weeks ago, and that was the title on the agenda that, social justice, how to achieve, etc., etc. But in the last 2 weeks, I've had probably about 5 phone calls from various doctors, colleagues, healthcare professionals, who basically literally were at the verge of suicidality purely because they've either been contacted by APRA or had the friendly call from PSR. So I thought I'll change it to how to not die while fighting against injustice. And I'm literally just another person, not a doctor, not nothing. Just think of me as a no superhuman, just normal person. Mystery. So in 2015, I got the friendly phone call from the PSR. And this is in the context of me losing my 8-year-old in an international custody battle, lost jobs, lost all sorts of things. And I apparently had a coronary after I heard that I got a phone call from PSR and lost a job. While I was getting rolled into the angiogram suite, being the Bollywood family that I come from, really, I thought my beautiful husband's going to actually go, we're going to lose you, I love you, and say all these wonderful things. But he sort of looked at me and just had this questionable face of going, what is going on with you? Get a grip, woman. Because he basically looked at me and went, you survived all of that. That's my daughter, by the way, the last picture I had of her. And he said, you survived all of that, and then you've just got PSR calling you or APRA, having some issues or whatnot, and you're about to have a coronary. He's a very dry man, and he sort of looked at me like I was stupid. And I sort of started to think about it while I was getting cannulated. And I realized that how stupid am I reacting to this stupidity, because I've survived all of that. And I thought, okay, I need to do something about this because I don't really want to die, because at this stage I've remarried and I've got a beautiful, child. So I thought, okay, what am I good at? Because at the moment I'm a senior medical officer in a hospital, and I thought, okay, primary survey, ALS, I do that sort of stuff. I'm not really smart. I need acronyms, and I sort of need to have a pattern to think about things. So I thought, okay, I'll think about that. And I thought, I'll do the whole danger ABC thing. Yeah. So danger. In the crowd, I've got Dr. Bruce Lewis today, one of my greatest mentors and support. One day I was at Wesley Hospital. I was a medical student, and we had a very hard case come in, and I was running around like a chicken with, head cut off. And I remember Dr. Lewis coming in and going, Anchita, take your own pulse. And I went, oh, that's a good idea. Calm down. And I thought, okay. So danger. What is danger? So most of us that are clinicians now, we put on our gloves and we make sure that we don't have any chemical exposure, et cetera, et cetera. So when you get that phone call from APRA or notifications, let's put things in context. Take your own pulse. Calm down. Okay, nobody's shooting you. You're not in Syria. You're not getting kidnapped. It's okay. And how do we really immunize ourselves against that knee-jerk reaction that we get of APRA, or PSR? How do we do that? Is it really that bad? And how you need to conceptualize. And the way I did it is the only way I can share with you guys. And I'm talking to a bunch of colleagues here because I'm about to become a lawyer, and you're all doctors, so I'm already a doctor. So this is not legal advice. This is not medical advice. It's just a friendly chat. This is how I'm approaching it. So what I did is I thought, okay, did I do anything wrong? I spoke to myself. I thought, okay, did I do anything wrong? I spoke to my patients. In fact, I've got a couple of patients here. It's just amazing that these patients I haven't seen for 5 years, and they've come today. It's so humbling. And I thought, okay, I did not harm any patients. I did see all the patients that I billed for, and I am not a root. So guess what I did at that point? I went, exonerated. That's it. I spoke to myself and I went, okay, I'm fine. So that's the first point. That was my protective mechanism. In my mind, physically, mentally, I'm exonerated. So I use this formula of analogy. Hopefully all doctors know this. And I applied it to the journey that I've been on in the past 3 years, because I don't think I would have survived if I didn't. So here's what I'm going to share. AIRWAY, right? All doctors here know AIRWAY. We can't move on to the breathing until the airway is secured. You can't really electrocute someone and think, oh, whoops, we forgot about the airway. So what's airway to us? And I'm going to actually talk about the elephant in the room. Let's not kid ourselves, docs. We need money. It's okay to be paid for what we do. We don't need to be altruistic and pretend that we don't need money and we're just going to be amazing. It's okay. We work, we get paid. If we don't get paid, I can't afford this place. I can't feed my child. So for me, the panic was coming because I started to think about, what am I panicking about? I'm panicking because my values were on the airway money. Because Medicare has the ability, my whole entire income was based on Medicare and based on the rights I get from APRA to have the ability to bill and prescribe. So what did I do? And I'm not sanctioned. I can bill Medicare and I can still do it. There's no sanctions on me. But what I thought and I anticipated is, okay, if that's the weapon that these people have, I will immunize myself against that part and secure my airway. And there's nothing pretty about this, guys. You need to be innovative, right? You need to think laterally. I decided to study law, and final year, got 3 more subjects to go. I just worked everywhere, guys. I locumed. I'm now a senior medical officer, but I was about to be a fellow GP, but I went backwards. I worked in one of the hospitals at RMO. I went completely backwards. I used to struggle mentally going, God, I achieved so much. I'm almost 10 years out, but no, I need to put food on the table, and I don't want to cave and say that I did something wrong when I haven't. And if I need to secure the airway, yeah, okay, it's work. I've even had a chance to do some Ubering, which is great. It's money. It put food on the table. So if I can do it with very minimal skills, trust me, all of you wonderful people can do it. God, don't bill Medicare. Bill privately. And when I say privately, not bill and then let the patients get Medicare rebates. I'm talking charge them and pay. There's innovative things that are out there that you can do. Become a public speaker. Get paid for publicly speaking. I don't know. Work elsewhere. So you get that power. The other thing that I did was I tried to free myself from the money being my priority to professional dignity as being my priority. I realized that I thought, okay, hold on, I'm not a doctor just because I need to be paid. I started to go, there's a bit more importance to my life and existence as a clinician. So that's another thing I did. Breathing. So we do a lot of things, doctors. We are quite clever, but some of the things we do is listen to the chest. So that's a process, isn't it? Like if the anatomical lung is, pneumothoraxed and all not working, people can't breathe. So you look at that. So then I thought, okay, once I've calmed down, took my pulse, and I made sure that the mortgage is paid somehow, and I've spoken to banks, blah, 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 I went, okay, I started to look at the process issue. I thought, okay, where is the problem? And I don't need to get into the details after what Julian has very beautifully illustrated. There's no legal representation. We're talking about the PSR system. So no legal representation, no set standards, no access to previous deliberations. So I can't see what people have done or have been found to do. And there's no transparency. So I went, okay, there's a big problem here. I don't know about you, but I don't know what's going on here. So I questioned that. So I identified that there is a pneumothorax. And I went, okay, we need to do something about it. Then, in conjunction to that, you move on to circulation. You look at the heart, for example. You say, okay, a dignity as a doctor, or is it actually about the patient, though, if you really look at it? What makes me get up in the morning and actually become a doctor and wade through pus and spit and crap and whatever that we do, guys? I mean, it's not wonderful what we do, but what makes me do that? Is it just that paycheck at the end of that fortnight? No. For me, it isn't. I can't speak for others and everybody, but for me, it isn't. And I believe that most of our colleagues don't wake up and do what we do for money. And if we shift that focus and go, okay, what's the actual heartbeat that we need to protect? It's the dignity and the outcome for the patients. Because by us being a little bit scared and oppressed and bullied into doing things, ultimately, yeah, it's hard for us as well, but ultimately I believe that it's actually affecting patient outcome. And I'm sure, and we've got other speakers here who will comment on that, and there's plenty of data out there that that shows that all these regulatory bodies who are supposed to be there to actually help us, help the public protect against these nasty doctors, seems to be actually doing the contrary. So I started to look at that. And I started to think about my professional dignity and responsibility rather than just the making of the money, which actually made me a happier doctor. It fulfilled me as a clinician. And then I literally surrounded myself with amazing people. I will have to share some stories about the people that are present here today, and thank you to you all. I did a lot of research, looked at videos, looked at this, looked at that, and all I did was Googled and reached out. The biggest surprise I had was I Googled Julian Burnside's email, and I just wrote a little email thinking, I'm just writing to Oblivia. Surely there won't be an answer. Within an hour, I got an answer and an invitation to come to his house in Melbourne. So, come along, let's have a chat. I was going, are you for real? And that's where the journey started. I found a video on the net about David Dunn. Amazing, 27 years of work in this field. I emailed him. He got back to me. Built a friendship, built working team. Joyce McSwan, David Gardner, Patty, everybody. The people that are speaking to you today are the Avengers. Like, seriously, these people have better things to do on a Saturday, but they trusted me. They came along and supported me through it. And that's why it's extremely important. I still remember one of the doctors here present today said one of the biggest threats is that everybody isolates you. Everybody makes you feel like you're completely alone. That's not true. If you seek help and not be astonished about the fact that someone's actually questioned whether you're human or not, really, because we all make mistakes. It's okay. Don't isolate yourself. In this, don't get me wrong, you do get called a belligerent, malignant thief and you're a rotter. You're a rotter, you are. All you need to really say is, okay, well, that's fine, but let's not deflect from the fact that there is a problem. Today is a validating day for me because Julian Burnside said there's a problem. Now people are listening to me, which is great. So there is a problem. Doesn't matter. Maybe I am a rotter. Maybe. But whether I am culpable or not, the culpability of myself can be questioned again once the process is corrected. That's my point. Please do. If you are actually going to audit me for the 6 months or 1 year or whatever I did, and if I am truly wrong, then I will give back every cent that I have ever billed under those item numbers as a doctor, because my son did not grow up on beggar money or belligerent money. That was my point. Thank you. Disability. So when you look at the whole process, you start thinking, where are the loopholes, right? So, okay, fair enough, we secured the airway, we've done the breathing, we've done the circulation, the fluids are up, everything is great, but we missed that hip fracture, and we didn't put that pelvic binder on, and the patient bleeds to death. Not good. So, when you look at, just like what Julian did in regards to the Health Insurance Act, I truly believe that all healthcare professionals should be reading and taught their legislations. If it's Health Insurance Act that we are billing against, and that's our core legislation that actually allows us to do what we do, we should be taught that in university, and we should potentially be told that, okay, this is how you do it, and this is that. And I honestly think if all medical practitioners were told to do a graduate diploma in law as part of med school, because we don't have enough to do, I believe this problem wouldn't have existed, because we're pretty smart people, right? If not anything, we're pretty smart academically. So we can look at the Health Insurance Act and go, what? And go, okay, we need more details. We need more clarity, transparency. So we would have identified that in 2000 and whatever, when you actually graduated, or even before that. And you would have had students going, oh, wait, I object. No, right? So it wouldn't have taken a heart attack and this person to sort of go, oh no, what's going on? And taken these many years. And as a matter of fact, many lives have been destroyed because of this. As a matter of fact, there are people in this very room who will attest to that. And that's a worry. So, the other thing, let's stop complaining. If you're going to complain, let's do something about it. And there is modality like this. as I said, you are all Avengers today, because we're starting. We're starting to sort of go, no, enough is enough. Yes, we're going to complain. We're not scared. We're going to go, okay, we're going to do something about this. When at the end of the little acronym, we expose everything, right? So we take all the clothes off, do a little log roll, make sure we're not missing this massive spinal issue in the back, embarrassingly. So we live in a country, people, that we can do what we call a Freedom of Information Act. This was first year law. I was Googling this. You can even Google how to do Freedom of Information Act template. It's great. Cut and paste, and then you just plug in a few, and you email it to PSR at health.gov.au, right? And then comes the letter of, hey, we don't have any policies and procedures. Hey, we don't have any statistical formula that we can actually share with you in the name of public interest to say why you are in the 99th percentile all of a sudden. We actually have no idea about why we are doing this. And we've got documents. This is in my little room, emailing, no lawyers, nothing. I just emailed them, and I got all these. It was almost like this mise en place situation of when you cook, you get all your ingredients. So for the first 3 years, that's what I did. Essentially, we were just basically going, here's the ingredients, here's the ingredients, here's the ingredients, great. Then I lodged a federal court case. I didn't have money, I didn't have any support really, so I said, okay, well, let's actually do something about it. It's not a cowboy act, it was 3 years of diligent study and mise en placing, okay? Now what? What are we doing? One of the biggest things that I'm encountering, which is really affecting my family, my life, and going back to the AIRWAY, the money. Money is an issue. Obviously, it's not really, from what I understand, because most of the doctors, lawyers, endless money, they're just leeches there, no offense. And I get that, because I looked at the, just sharing the nitty-gritty details. Recently, I have just looked at my finally amended statement of claim, which is basically like a document, right, that goes to court to plead. And we spent a lot of money on what was about 6 paragraphs of blueness. It's all litigants' frustration, really, that you sort of go, come on, man, come on. And I mean, in my case, my judge was related to the PSR director. We didn't even know about it until 1 year down the road. So there goes all my money and time. There's so many complexity to it, and I'm happy to answer any questions during the Q&A, but it's not really the lawyers. It's actually the justice system. I think that's, and I just, not that I'm crossing over to the dark side because I'm going to be a lawyer, but I just wanted to know that, I think we should be a little bit respectful in a sense that I agree with what Julian's saying, that if we're doctors, we should be doctors, and we should try to find the right lawyers to actually fight the battles. There's some really bad share of bad lawyers too. So yes, that's the whole point of trying to find the right team. Fundamental, let's stand up against injustice. Let's do that, because we sort of do that every day. I mean, we are people that stand up against injustice of a mother losing a child because she was just too busy looking after another child. The child's underneath the pool, blue, no pulse, no breathing, comes in. We don't give up, man. We resuscitate the living jeevers out of him. I still remember one of my colleagues sitting right here saying, Anchita, calm down. You're the person that resuscitates these people. This is PSR. Calm down. Let's fight against injustice. It's enough. It's enough. We've been talking about it. David's been talking about it for 27 years. It's been going on and on and on and on. We need to solve this. I think it's about time that we do, especially for our patients and for all our colleagues as well. Don't die. Please don't. In each of your compendium, beneath the business card, there's my mobile number. If you feel nobody loves you, I love you. Just call me, and please stop. Don't press that button of death. It's not worth it, guys. And this is my little new baby. I thought, okay, we pay on average $12 to $15 a month on average to people like APRA. We pay a lot of money to all these organizations so they can crucify us. So I thought, okay, What if we have a not-for-profit organization where you pay $24 a year, which is $2 a month, tax deductible, and anybody can pay. Patients, doctors, lawyers, anything. And it sits in a little pool. And by the way, this is not perfect yet because I created this 2 weeks ago, okay? We're still working on it. But I thought, if we have a pool of that money, then I don't need to rattle the can going, please help, please help, please help, or beg Julian Burnside to do things pro bono when he has better things to do. I think that if we can actually create something like that in progress, then perhaps we don't need to be in a situation like I was in 2012, when I could not fly to wherever my child was taken, and I don't know where she is anymore. Perhaps I don't need to potentially die from a coronary thinking, oh my God, I'm completely alone, I can't do anything about it. Potentially, we can prevent that because everybody deserves a fair go. It doesn't matter how annoying you are. I think everybody deserves a fair go. So thank you for listening.